Okay, everybody, we're back for another episode of Canadian Talk Podcast. This is go number 2 at episode 99, the Wayne Gretzky episode. Fuck me all the way to Whoville. I did a whole 54-minute episode of the podcast, and my camera, the SD card, even though I formatted it right before I started recording, said, I went to go take the SD card out and go put it in my computer, and it's like, oh, it needs to be formatted, and if it formats, it deletes everything on the whole SD card. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I can't, so the whole episode is gone. I have the audio for it, which, I don't know, maybe I'll release that on Patreon, I suppose. Hey, that's what Patreon's for, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So I guess I didn't accomplish nothing. But, I mean, I need a video episode. I got to put something on the YouTube. I got to put something on the... I guess YouTube is my only video platform, hey. I got to start setting up my website so that the video versions are on the website as well as going to Spotify and shit. And Amazon. Because I know that Amazon and Spotify, obviously, as we know with Joe Rogan's podcast, God, now I'm going to have the hiccups for this whole fucking episode. As we know with Joe Rogan's podcast, Spotify and Amazon support video, which is kind of cool. So, I don't know what I do now, though. I guess I can't hit the same fucking topics. I guess I decide if I'm going to release the other 99 or not, because I can't talk about the same topics, or it'll just look... No, because nobody watches the Patreon anyway. I'll just talk about the same topics. So these are all rehearsed, people. So you're about to see a polished Canadian talk. I got my Stellas. When I told my producer to go and get them, she was like, she had them in the car because she like got me a bigger box of beer and then a smaller box of beer, and she's like, oh, but there's something leaking in my car. It's on the passenger side. It's on the floor. Do you mind going and having a look? And I'm like, oh shit. And I go out there and I have a look, and it's just the Stella's sitting on the floor. She's like, I've never seen anything on the floor like it before. A fucking 6-pack of Stella. I was like, okay, sweet. So I guess that makes up for losing 54 minutes of my time. My hard valued creative time wasted. Okay, well, but who cares? I'm $1,500 richer from the Trump revolution. I bet pretty heavy on the election, and I bet on the popular vote. I bet on the winner. I had Trump. I think I had $560 on Trump at like 2-1, which is insane that I got those kind of odds. And then I put $40 on the popular vote, and I got 4-1 on that, which is absolutely crazy that they were even offering 4-1 for the popular vote. I mean, I had heard that they hadn't won. The Republicans hadn't won the popular vote in a long time, like a pretty long time. I had heard, but I don't want to say how long because I don't know for sure. Maybe you can look that up. I was trying to look it up the other day and I couldn't find it, so don't worry if you can't find it. So do you know what I'm getting you to look up, or did you forget already? Yeah, I figured you forgot already. Jesus fucking Christ. So when was the last time the Republicans won the popular vote? So. Yeah, and that'll pay out at 4-1. I mean, I'm not sure what the totals are at right now, actually, for the popular vote, but I know that Trump Dog was ahead by like 4 million last time I checked. Let's in fact see, shan't we? Trump 74.3 and Kamala 70.4. So Trump is still up by 4 million votes on that popular vote. So I will probably get paid out for that popular vote bet too. So fuck yeah. What else we got going on in the world? God damn it. Now my phone's going to die during this podcast and I won't have my list. That's all right. You can remind me of whatever the topics are. I pretty much posted every joke now at this point anyway, though, folks. But anyway, here we are. Episode 99 of the Canadian Talk Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Doing it again. This is basically a filler episode. I'll try to make it awesome. But we're just on the road to 100 here today. You know, I'm so psyched that I can't believe that I've done 100 of these these episodes, and it took me 6 years, so that's like fucking 20 a year. But like that's still, to do 20 a year, you still have to do one every like 2 weeks. So that's pretty good. What's nice about this episode though versus the other one is that I'm not gonna lie, and if you want to go over to the Patreon and check out the other episode 99, which I'll put there, you're gonna see how fucking depressing it is. I was pretty much whining the whole episode, talking about how this show sucks and how I'm gonna quit. So, and then I said I was joking. So, I don't know. Take me seriously, don't take me seriously. Somebody buy me a camera. I don't know. Please buy me a camera. Is there some millionaire out there who's just like, Donald Trump, buy me a camera. Come on, motherfucker. Ugh. The Stella's going down smooth. If I drank all 6 of them, I wonder what this podcast would be like. Probably a bit of a mess. So, anyway, we're here. We're queer. Get used to it. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button. Okay, hold on. What do we got here? Oh, there we go. That's the fart mic for the first time. Got some poop particles on the mic there. Oh, man. Yep. So we're here. And let's see what we got here, guys. Oh, my God. It feels so gross to talk about this stuff a second time. I don't know. I don't even know if I can muster up the courage to do it. I can't. This just says abortion should be for blacks only. I don't know why that's on there. But it's definitely not very nice. No, but but technically, if they did make abortion for blacks only, apparently they do most of the abortions. And so if you were to just, what if you were to just ban it for them? Be like, everybody else can get abortions, but blacks have to have kids. Then maybe that would fix all, like, how many abortions there are, Because what's the goal? Is the goal for us to have the least amount of abortions? That would be the goal, right? Because we want to save those kids, or do we want them to like grow up in a bad household? That, I guess, is the big question, the inner question to the abortion debate. Hey, it's like, do we save the kids or not? Yeah, and then like, oh man, I was watching that Jubilee. It's like a YouTube channel, and they got this new thing where it's called Surrounded. And they basically put like 20 people or 25 people versus one person. And they were doing this one with Ben Shapiro and 20 other people, and they were talking about abortion. And it's interesting. I've never really thought about this debate that much, but it kind of does come down to like, when do you define the unborn child as being alive and worthy of saving? Like, there's a lot of people that have the view that you've got to take that stance right away, and it's like, as soon as it's conceived, it's alive, we got to value it like a human life. And the people in this Jubilee thing, it was kind of going all over the place. Like, some people were like, 9 weeks, and some people were like 4 months. And so I think that's really what it comes down to in that debate. So, just sitting on a wooden stump over there. Didn't get a comfortable chair. All right. Well, that's balls. That's bally. Bally? That's bally? That's not a saying. That's ballsy. Ballsy. That's what I meant to say. Stellas are hitting me already here. Okay, let's slow this down for a second so we don't say something accidentally that we don't mean to say, like the N-word. Man, I wish I could say the N-word. I feel like I wouldn't say it. I feel like I wouldn't say it meanly. Like, if I was allowed to say the N-word, I would just use it in cool ways, like how modern black people do. Well, at least that's what we like to think, is that they just use it in cool ways, like saying hi to their buddies or in like pop culture. That's all I would do, I think. I hope. I don't know. This podcast, we're 10 minutes in, and this podcast is going off the rails already. Holy fuck. I'm glad we're 10 minutes in. We're almost fucking done, people. We're going to make this podcast 11 minutes long. Oh, this was something I will talk about again that I talked about in the last episode. So the other day I was watching YouTube, and I found it kind of interesting because I paused it because I was going to go take my 4th shit of the day, as I do. Got to shit every couple hours in this world here because I'm taking in this nicotine rock salt, which turns my gastrointestinal system into a fucking water slide. That's probably why. Oh yeah, my dream journal. We'll go through my dream journal too. I keep finding myself in tunnels in my goddamn dreams. Probably because my fucking gastrointestinal system is a water slide. And if that's what we are, if that's what tells our brain what to do, our stomachs, that would mean that I am not a human. I'm just a water. I'm a worm. I'm a big water slide. That's what so we're not actually human beings. We're just all water slides. Okay? So come to terms with that, guys. We are water slides. And okay. Anyway, I was watching YouTube, and this is going all over the place. This is fast paced. This kind of feels like a Tim Dillon or a Chris Stefano podcast. It's hard to keep this pace though for a long time. I'm not gonna lie. And so watching YouTube, and I go to take my shit, and I pause the thing, and while I'm over there, I hear an ad start playing on my YouTube. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like that's even worse than cable TV. Like, back in the day, cable, you couldn't pause cable. So sure, they're going to play ads when you're not there. But when you started being able to pause cable, it wouldn't unpause when you weren't there, or it wouldn't start showing ads during the pause screen, as far as I know. Hold on a second here, folks. Just going to blow the schnozeroo. So, excuse me. So, it's almost like it's worse, you know? I don't like that. Or maybe maybe it's even worse than that. Maybe they spy on me and they know that my bathroom is close to where my TV is. So they know I'll hear the ads. It's a full psyop. It could be a full psyop. I mean, why not give it the credit of being a full psyop? It could be. So, yeah, abortion for blacks only, you know. And, okay, on to my dream journal. Nothing interesting in here. I've been having a lot of dreams. What have we been having dreams about? Bears. A lot of bears chasing after me. I don't know. That now is when I'd like to throw it to you and ask you, because you're the dream expert. Having dreams about a lot of bears. I'm always in like a big building, or like I said, I'm in like a tube that ends up being, in one dream it ended up being like a water slide that got all clogged and I was trapped in there. Another dream ended up being like a real regular slide that was like in a park, and I was like, what the fuck? And so yeah, dreams are weird. I mean, what are they dreams are the secret window into the subconscious, right? So it's like, what do they really mean? It's kind of hard to say. They're kind of like religion. They can mean whatever you want them to mean, in a sense. Like, just change your interpretation, use it to your advantage. Boom, you're winning, you know? So, good stuff. What else? Mayoral debate in Sao Paulo, Brazil. One of the mayoral candidates threw a chair at the other candidate. This just says, this says Trump's second assassination attempt. Yeah, this is all good stuff here. Yeah, kind of crazy. I mean, Trump has won at this point, so it's kind of a null topic. I feel like, we could talk about this for a second. I feel like there's a chance. The thing is, though, this would be what would really make him legend, is if Trump gets assassinated during his presidency, he will become legend, you know? Like, that would be probably the best thing for him. You know, if he would just be killed during his presidency. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Like, well, a lot of people would be sad about it, I suppose. But then we got J.D. Vance doing his thing. Vance Refrigeration. Just give tax breaks to all the refrigeration companies. That's an Office reference for anybody out there who doesn't watch The Office. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Shout out to all the Canadian Talk people that watch. Shout out to all the people that have been on the show. We love it. So basically, one part of that last episode that I wanted to reiterate as well that I really liked was, this show is I don't gain anything from this. Maybe one day I will. But anybody who knows me knows that I don't necessarily care about money. please go subscribe to our YouTube page, Canadian Talk with Stephan podcast. We need you down there. Also, we have a website, Stephanjackson.ca, where you'll find the audio versions. As well, you can email us if you got a question or anything you want to see us talk about. CanadianTalkWithStephan@gmail.com. Or fame or anything like that. So this isn't for me. What this is for you. It's for the people out there who, maybe today you just didn't want to listen to your own thoughts, and you were just like, let's listen to somebody else talk while I sit here and that's what this is for. It's for distracting you from whatever you may need distraction from. So we're here for you. Thanks for tuning in. Just hit that subscribe button. Oh, that felt a little two-faced. I don't know. So, what else is going on in the world? One thing I was surprised about to do with this last election is they're saying, like, people are theorizing about, we were talking about Trump getting assassinated. We'll come back to that. People are theorizing about, like, how Trump won and how Trump did it. And, like, there's a lot of people who were saying, it's because he was targeting young males this year and they came out to vote and that's what did it for him. But the reality is, I was looking at it, I got a chart sent to me, it's from NBC, the chart, and it was showing that, and this might be just purely because of the mail-in voting scandal shit that happened to get Biden 81 million votes somehow. But like every different demographic, which this doesn't make sense. Well, I guess because the votes are a little less, but you'd have to really look at the numbers to see if it makes sense. But every demographic of voters, white, black, Asian, and other were the 4 of the 5 categories, were all down by like 3%. So white males voted less this year than in the last election. So the idea that this election was won by young white males coming out to vote for Trump is not true. And what was interesting is even with all of the border debate, the immigration being Trump's basically his main talking point. He would always talk about the immigration. For some reason, the only demographic, and they voted red, so it's not like they didn't turn out more this year and then vote for Kamala. They were up by 3.5%, the Hispanic voting this election, which is crazy because that would mean that you have Hispanics voting for their own deportation, right? Isn't that kind of weird? That struck me as a little bit weird. So that's interesting. But what I really think it was, right, is it's nothing to do with demographics. It's to do with the secret world, I think, of the internet, which controls discourse nowadays. Because you have one side, you have Kamala's side, which is like they're making clips, they're getting their influencers to make little clips where it's like, hey guys, please vote for Kamala and all that kind of stuff. And they're so like fake, and they're trying to use already existing platforms which will have all the same subscribers that they've always had. You're not getting into the real deepness of the internet and all the people that are out there in their own echo chambers, right? Because you've got to find a way to infiltrate all those echo chambers that won't necessarily have Beyonce in them. Like Beyonce can't just say, hey, I support Kamala, and that's not going to change everything, or Taylor Swift or whoever, because they have a set amount of followers and they are going to already be on that team. Whereas this year, and Trump didn't outright say it. I mean, he did in various ways on podcasts and things, but he didn't say this in his victory speech because this is a historic speech. He didn't himself come out and thank like Theo Vaughn or any of the other long form podcast guys, Andrew Schultz or the Nelk Boys or any of that type of stuff, for example. He had Dana White come up and do it during his victory speech, and Dana White thanked all these guys. And that's where, and I think that also, I mean, sure, if Kamala had went on Joe Rogan Experience, that might have helped her if she fucking came with guns blazing. But you're up against your hardest, you're better off she might be better off not talking to Joe Rogan, because he slices and dices. So she may have ended up coming out of that looking worse. And then that would have hurt her even more. But, the interesting thing is it's like, it already hurt her because before the election, Joe made a podcast with Trump, and he was already talking about the important things, which was like, oh yeah, Kamala made an offer. She wanted to come on, but she wanted me to come to her, and she was only willing to do 45 minutes. And truly, that alone makes her look really bad and scared and lazy and yada yada. So yeah, I think what really made the difference this year was, and what is the new kind of code to really getting the best things on the internet to rise to the top, whether it just be me or some dude, some lower level pundit might say some good shit in a long form podcast. He gears up, takes him 2 hours, but he finally gets to that good thing. He says a good 5 minutes of stuff, and then that rises to the top on the internet, and then that promotes Trump. It seems like this year what made the difference was fucking this, long form podcasts. It's the way to like create the best commercials. You have everyone then the tryouts for, okay, who can make the best presidential what do you call it when you the best presidential endorsements and commercials is, it could be anybody. Those tryouts are open to all of America, whereas the tryouts for Kamala are like, hey, do you have over 10 million? Like, I mean, not many people pass that tryout. I mean, who endorsed her? Like the top people, like only people that are literally world famous, and that's a small pool to pull from. You're not going to get good videos made by those people. That's why when you went on TikTok or you went on Instagram or any given thing, these are left-wing medias. And you still saw them be left-wing social medias. You still saw them being dominated by clips about the right. And I think that has to do with the overwhelming amount of more content being made by the right, thanks to podcasting. And sure, it gets clipped up and sure, it gets diced up, but like, you can't compete if one candidate has 20 million hours of content endorsing them versus the other candidate that has 10,000 hours of videos of celebrities endorsing them. The 20 million hours is probably going to win, you know? And I think that's what we ended up seeing. And so, yeah, that's my opinion, potentially. I think I was well put together. I'm happy with that spiel there. I think that is what caused the victory this year. And what was cool, one other thing to say about it, and we'll get back to the assassination craziness. Oh, did it fall out of my head? Electoral votes. Oh, one other thing that was interesting about this year's election, and it does look bad on Biden. It looks bad on the 2020 election. Because, okay, sure, they, you know, and I may be wrong with this, but I am pretty confident that I saw a thing that they made a new law in the U.S. where you need to have voter ID, I'm pretty sure. And they made that during the Biden administration. So that might be the cause of it. But also, it is crazy to see that this year there was like 145 million votes total, 70 and 75. And then you look at the election from Biden-Trump, and you're talking about 82 million, and I think Trump got like 75. So we're looking at like almost 160 million votes. What happened to those 15 million votes? Where are those people? That's too much of like a vacancy. It really leaves a lot of room for conspiracy thoughts on potential fuckery. To me, anyway, it really puts a lot more stock into the talking point of, hey, what was going on near the end of that 2020 election? How, like, it was like, I'm sure we all experienced the same thing if you were watching it. Like, went to bed around midnight or whatever and is like, okay, this is pretty close. Let's just see what happens. And then you wake up and all of a sudden Biden went from 69 to 81. And it's like, how? And it was all in Wisconsin and like, okay, that's not completely true, but it was all in areas that basically don't have that many people. And they were pretty well counted up already. And he just jumps with 12 million more votes. Like, what the hell? So that was definitely a point that's interesting too. So it's like, but I mean, what are you going to do? You can't go back and investigate that. There will be no going back and investigating that, you know. Biden's an old man. He'll just die, and anybody involved in that scandal will be fine, I'm sure. But definitely fuckery going on there, in my opinion. So, anyway, that was the election. Trump dog won it. And we'll see if he's going to be able to stop the Ukraine wars, and he's already met with Zelensky. By the way, this is being recorded a couple days after the election, so I've got a few more insights on that because I've been watching it. He's already met with Zelensky, and I can tell you, Zelensky looked fucking terrified after the meeting. Like, he was like, somebody just told him, hey, you're about to get fucked up. And then I'm seeing news stuff already about Hamas basically calling off the occupation of Gaza, and like the Israel-Palestine war is already starting to trail off or something along those lines, which that is pretty positive for his immediate influence as he's just came into office. It's looking pretty positive, so that's good. Yeah, I guess they're gonna have to have another COVID epidemic maybe. Like, what are they gonna do now to try to stop this guy? It's gonna be interesting. One other thing that's interesting is like, this is one thing I've been thinking about a lot, and I would love to come up with it right now and have it be on the record before it happens, because then I can have a published theory about this. It's like, how are they going to, now that it's been about a year, and sure, at the beginning they were like, don't call it a war, it's not a war, the Russia occupation and stuff. How are they going to be able to sell that ending of that war to the public? Do you think, because Putin's going to have to maintain his strong image. So you can't just be like, okay, Trump went in there and he said enough is enough. So they've stopped because of America threatened to attack Russia. So they've stopped, and Ukraine also was like, okay, we're gonna follow what Russia's asked for. Let's stop the killing. Like, I don't think that Russia, I don't think will want or accept something packaged like that, where it makes them look weak or it makes Putin look weak. They're going to have to find some workaround where America doesn't necessarily lead as the strong force to ending the war. Like, it'll have to be maybe a negotiation. Like, Trump will have to go to Ukraine, and they'll have to pretend there was some bureaucratic meeting between him and some important people in Ukraine, and he convinces them, hey, you guys should forfeit. And then, like, maybe it'll be something like that. But I don't know how they're going to be able to package that so that the public, all the fucking people who are up in arms about Ukraine and all that, to get them to accept that the war is ending and Ukraine is no more. Ukraine is still a part of Russia. It'll be hard to get people to accept that, as well as people in Canada, because we're like, there's a lot of Ukrainians here. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch the news for sure. So anyway, what a political podcast so far. Shit. Sip break. Let's have a sip break, folks. Let's calm this down for a second here. Going a little off the rails. We're riding on the anger from losing video on my shitty $40 Amazon camera and my also shitty $20 Amazon micro SD card that needs to be formatted every fucking hour apparently, and it deletes all your shit. God, fucking bullshit. So, yeah. We live in a world. We all live in a world together. And Trump is the president of that world now, I guess. So, shit, I mean, unless somebody comes out of the woodwork and finds a way to kill him on his golf course, I mean, fuck, he's going to stick around. I mean, but yeah, that could happen. And then the Shane Gillis bit will go fucking viral again. His little, like, his joke about how Trump would be the funniest president to see get assassinated. I mean, that'll go viral again because it might be funny. I mean, if it's on video, it might be funny. I know it'll be funny for the left because they're fucking crazy murderers, but so are the right. We're all crazy murdering monkeys, at the end of the day. That's the whole idea. That's why we even have a president, is to try to stop us all from being crazy murdering monkeys. Like, that's the whole point of having an old dude running the whole thing, so that we all feel like there's safety. And we all feel safe around an old dude, I mean, don't we? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. As long as they're not driving, as long as you're not in a car with them, we all feel safe. You don't want to drive in a car with an old dude. He might crash into a building, and then you're real fuck-dingered. I mean, man, imagine being like, oh, that would suck. Just dying in a crash with an old person. Right before you die, you'd be like, fuck, I should have saw this coming. Oh, another sip break, folks. And I complain about the hiccups, yet I drink the whole podcast. Oh. What else is going on, folks? As you can see, the crotch picking has gone to a minimum. I'm trying to stop that. I've been getting a little bit of comments about how I'm picking at my crotch too much during the show, so that'll cease. So I'm sitting here with an itchy crotch for you. I do that for you. That is a sacrifice. Do you know how uncomfortable it is to sit there with an itchy crotch? Like, right now, put some salt into your underwear. Just do it. Like, that's what I feel like right now, and I can't even touch it. You know? Like, just because you guys are like, oh, he's touching his wiener. Damn, Stella's a good beer. By chance, could you grab me another one? Pop off. Yep. All right. Yeah, this is a podcast, folks, where we talk about things. And I'm happy you're tuning in. You know, the tough part is I'm just some idiot. You know, we're all just idiots, and it's really tough. This is an interesting thing I've been thinking about lately because I feel bad about it. I feel like a narcissist. Please go subscribe to our YouTube page, Canadian Talk with Stephan podcast. We need you down there. Also, we have a website, Stephanjackson.ca, where you'll find the audio versions. As well, you can email us if you got a question or anything you want to see us talk about. CanadianTalkWithStephan@gmail.com. Or something. And you know, that's not a good thing to feel like, but it's just like, I'm saying like too much again. Fuck. You know, it's hard to think that you're qualified to have people listen to what you say, you know, and it can go for any art. Sure, like music is a different one because it's like music you only listen to for 2 minutes. And it's like, okay, if it's got a nice beat to it, people can be convinced and they listen to it and they go, oh, that wasn't a waste of my time because there's like a little, like a boop bop, like a little beat, you know, a little boop bop. That'll be boop bop boop. And, but when it comes to like, hey, look at my painting, or hey, listen to me talk for an hour, I understand that that's a bit much to ask. You know, if you're not a person who's inclined to sit down and listen to these things, and that's the problem with podcasts too, and that's why you're seeing, I think, a trend of a lot of any popular podcast often starts from a place of like, oh, I hate this guy. Look at what he said, or look at what he said, because the only people that actually watch these things in their entirety at the beginning are usually haters, and they end up finding something negative. And then it goes out there, and then some people actually look who don't hate you, and they're like, oh, no, but look at all this other stuff. So, you know, it's a self-fulfilling fucking toxic circle, isn't it? You know, because either way, yeah, I guess that's what you want these days, is to get somebody to hate you, and then they'll watch you. I don't know. What do you think? You think the 100 viewers we get in an episode are just all people who hate me? You know, maybe one of them took my cat. Yeah. Fuck. Fucking people taking cats. They're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats, people. Yeah. Maybe my cat got eaten. Maybe Tybalt got eaten. Yeah. Like, holy shit. That would suck. But, I mean, you can always buy another cat. It's just a cat. I watched Kindergarten Cop the other day. That was an interesting watch. It's kind of fun to go back to like 1989 or the 90s or the 80s and watch the movies that are of that time. You don't realize how much culture changes in just like 10 or 20 years. Like, there was scenes where they were talking about sexual stuff with kindergartners. Like, they had kindergartners being like, did you know that everybody dies? And it's like, you would never see that in today's movies. Or like, you know, romantic stuff happening in front of a bunch of kids. Because like the main plot thing is that like Arnold Schwarzenegger. See, there we go. I just said the N-word for the first time on my podcast. I told you it was going to happen today. It's in his name though. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the main character, and the main plot line is that he like arrests this dude who's like a killer, and then the killer has like a family who runs from him, and then he gets deployed to this school where the family goes to school. The lady's a teacher, and then he ends up getting a crush on a lady that ends up being, and I'm not sure, they never really are clear about if he knew that this lady was that dude's wife. He didn't necessarily know, but he ends up fucking falling in love with the dude he put in jail's wife. And then the dude gets out of jail because they kill the witness that saw him kill a person. And then, yeah, there's just tons of scenes with, like, Schwarzenegger just, like, flirting with her in front of kids and kissing her in front of kids. And it's like, you know, and, like, other small things that I noticed that were interesting about a 1989 movie, aside from the cool cars and the cool clothes and stuff, was like there would be a scene where they'd be in a restaurant and the waiter, or a plane, and in the plane, the person pushing the cart around asking if you want a drink, black person. The person waitressing at the restaurant, black person. You would never see that in today's movies. Like we are now pretending that they are not a part of that class, you know. And back then they didn't do that shit. They were just like, it is what it is. The casting agent hired her. What can you do? She's a black. So yeah, I mean, shit, guys. Well, I mean, what can we finish with here? We're gonna find something to finish with, and then we are gonna call this one an episode. We're at 40 minutes. So thanks for tuning in for this episode. The Wayne Gretzky episode 99. After this, we're going to be in the triple digis. And Trump is going to come and commend us. After he gets killed, his ghost will come to the studio, and he will commend us and be like, you did 100 episodes? You did 100 episodes? What a show. I saw this video. Like, oh, it would be funny. I would do this with my kid. I saw this video of this kid. He was trick-or-treating, getting all the candy. He had a crowd of white people in golf carts following him around the neighborhood. They weren't all his parents. So after he would go to each house, he would come out of the house and he would do a Trump impression, but he was just a little kid. And he was like, thank you all for coming. This candy, I will take it. I will put tariffs on the house who does not give me candy. And he was kind of good at the impression, and he was just a little kid. And I found that funny. But yeah, I mean, if Trump got assassinated, how would it happen? I feel like now it wouldn't happen with a gun. You know what would suck? Is like, if it happened with a gun, it would be what's expected, because there's been 2 attempts now, like, with guns. But if they find a way, and this would suck, that's what I'm saying, but this might be the way that it happens now because they've kind of exhausted the other options. If they infiltrate somehow his close group, or they can somehow find somebody who's in it and flip them, like, I guess that's infiltrating, but like, maybe it's not a total double agent who they insert. Maybe they find somebody who's in the cabinet or in his group that is manipulatable, if that's a word, manipulatable, and they manipulate somebody in his cabinet to just straight up, you know, stab him. The thing is, though, now with modern medicine, I'm not sure you could kill a president with a knife. Like, you could fucking cut his throat, and they would probably find a way to, like, get him to the hospital and save him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was that one movie that I watched back in the day. Oh my God, it was like a Western. I'm sorry, I don't know the name, but it was this movie. It had that one big celebrity in it, who, like, he did a lot of fighting movies, and he was just a guy, and they slit his throat, and it was cold out. It was like winter. And basically, after he got his throat slit, he walked himself to the hospital, which was like a mile away, and survived getting his throat slit. I think it's probably because, like, the wound might have frozen shut or something like that, which might have stopped some of the blood loss or who knows what. But I mean, my point is you can survive a knife. And so I don't know if a knife will be enough to kill a president, with the way that medicine is nowadays. Probably not, hey. No, you're going to have to use a gun. You're going to have to hit him in the dome. You're going to have to hit him in the dome with a gun ski. Shut off the brain ski, But yeah, it might be, it's not going to be funny. I don't think there's any point in joke. But Gillis did it. It's hard to believe that an assassination could be funny. But I guess we'll see, folks. We got a Trump president. We got a popular vote winner on the Republican side for the first time in 25 years. That's why I was able to get 4-1. Cha-ching. And fucking, I don't even live in the U.S. This is Canada. So shout out to all you Americans out there. And we'll end it on a high note, guys. This is an episode. I was about to go into a spiel about something that I think is a little more depressing, and maybe we'll do it. I don't know. You know what's interesting? We'll do it. What's interesting, and it's a little bit like I'm not sure how a person would handle this. So basically, the premise starts with this. Hierarchies are frustrating. Whether the hierarchy be an economic hierarchy where you're a person who's poor and you're like, fuck this, and you get your cat stolen, you get something else stolen, you have a break-in and they fucking scare your kids or whatever. All these things that can happen as you're on the lower end of the hierarchy are very frustrating. And then there's also like a social hierarchy, right? And you just start with these types of things. And it's hypocritical to say. I'm not going to say this isn't hypocritical. Socially, like you start a podcast and let's say you have some people that you like, whether they be at the same level as you in terms of clout online or they're a little bit above you. You start out and you have some people who are like, no, I won't come on your podcast, or they don't even reply to you or stuff like that. It's very frustrating. And it's like, what if later you find success and then these same people aren't still so hesitant? How do you deal with that? Should you then, any person who wouldn't fuck with you when you were little, you shouldn't fuck with them when you're big, right? Yeah. I think that's the way you deal with it, folks. Fucking hold grudges. That's the main message of the pod today. Hold grudges. Be like Donald Trump. Fight for yourself and fight for the people who are around you that fight for you. Don't fuck with people who fucked with you. There you go. That's episode 99 of the Canadian Talk episode. Wayne Gretzky, we love you. You're the best hockey player ever. Go Canada. Go Don Cherry. Don Cherry is... One last thing is I'm loving that Don Cherry is becoming like the poster boy for Remembrance Day. So cool that like he's kind of like he's gone. He's not dead yet. He's been exiled, But he is becoming... Every year around November 11th, you see his fucking image everywhere. People being like, how the fuck did this happen to him? Fuck Ron McLean. Like, because he did not say anything that bad. He was talking... I wish he... Maybe, if he hadn't have targeted immigrants, like being like, oh, the people who come here. If he had just said blanket statement, oh, everyone who doesn't wear a poppy. Figure it the fuck out. If he had said that, it might not have been quite so bad. But he kind of more so targeted the people coming in, which isn't the greatest, but, still. When you properly, if you are fucking gonna teleport your mind back to what these people did in war for us, and you're gonna pretend that, like him saying a little statement like that, just to say something nice for these people who laid in the mud and laid down their lives for us. And he can't say that as just a coach's corner, just a hockey guy. It was a nationalistic sports show too. It was Hockey Night in Canada, coach's corner. So why are you going to get mad at him for being a nationalist on a nationalist sports show? What the fuck? So, anyway, yeah, Don Cherry's becoming. I love him. We all love him. Anyone who I care about their opinion loves him, and he's becoming the poster boy for Veterans Day and for Remembrance Day, and I love it. All power to the veterans. Thank you all for your sacrifices for our country and letting me fucking live the life I live now. And wear your poppy. I don't have a poppy on now, but if it was November 11th, I would. Yeah, I'm getting my fingers shaken at me by the peanut gallery here, but still, you know, a poppy is in your heart. That's where it's at, you know. And if you don't like Don Cherry, you could put on a poppy, and guess what? You're still not wearing a fucking poppy. That poppy went invisibility cloak, Harry Potter style. You can't wear a fucking poppy. So, because if you're mad at Don Cherry, fuck you. Holy man, the most F-bombs ever in a podcast. All right. Thanks for tuning in. That's Canadian Talk. Second try at episode Wayne Gretzky. Out. See you later, folks. Have a good time with your lives.
You put your groceries under the hood of my car?